Hi, everyone. I just wanted to come on real quick before you start listening to this episode with Célestine, where we talk all about epilepsy, the UK healthcare system versus the US healthcare system, and some real big surprises I did not know. We also do absolutely discuss politics here, so if that's not your thing, this might not be your episode. I do need to give some trigger warnings here that we do discuss suicide and we do discuss pregnancy, loss, and abortion. If these are issues that are not for you, you can feel free to go ahead and skip, move on to one of our other episodes, but I do recommend this episode a lot. We also discuss childhood diagnostics, what it's like to go to school when you are disabled or have questionable health, and we talk about what schools, parents, and friends can do to help out people. And I think it's an important episode. I just did want to come on for those trigger warnings. If you do have depression or suicidal thoughts, first off, you are loved, you are important, and you are needed here. If you need extra help, please feel free to try the dialing 988. That is a suicide and crisis lifeline. Thank you so much. Be kind, be gentle, and whatever way it looks like to you, be fierce. And I hope you enjoy this episode.
Hey everyone! Oh, don't get scared. It's fine. We are very friendly here. I'm here with Celestine. I'm going to call her Celeste as she told me I could just because I have 3 brain cells. None of them are talking to each other today. And Celeste has been an angel dealing with all of our reschedulings, and I've been very excited to get to talk to her about epilepsy, chronic illness in the UK, and how that differs from the United States, where I am. If you can hear the terror and sarcasm in my voice, you will totally know that I live in the United States right now. And so I don't even know where to start. Epilepsy is normally something that you are diagnosed with. I know I had the test done when I was a kid. Is that when you were starting to work on that?
Yeah, so basically what happened is I started just my body and just reactions to certain things started to change. My eyes would flicker. I was in 6th grade and I could feel something was wrong with me, but it was really difficult for me to really explain it. And at that time I was in drama school and I was a very dramatic kid. And so my parents didn't really believe that something was really going on with me. Bless them, like because I was always kind of acting. So the eye flickering, the thing that they didn't really get it, to be quite honest. And it lasted for a year, of me wondering what the hell was happening to me. And I know it's not starting off on the best happy note, but I got so overwhelmed with everything that's happening. I just swallowed a bunch of pills, actually. Yeah. And so I went to the hospital, obviously, like they had to pump my stomach and stuff. Whilst I was in the hospital, I got tested, and that's how we discovered that actually was an epileptic.
Let's get back a little bit because this is
Yeah.
such a common thing for sick kids. Not just the attempt, I guess we have to like talk in a cutesy manner, which drives me insane, but unsubscribing from life. Many of us who have chronic illness, especially as kids, were very much in that boat. But also the medical gaslighting, not just from doctors, but from parents. And I am a parent. I'm a parent of sick kids too. I have a daughter who has chronic illness and chronic pain. And it's hard when you're a parent and you're on sleep deprivation and you're like, okay, but are you just not wanting to go to school? Like, I can barely handle my stuff. How do I, And so I have my own ways of handling that. But talk to me a little bit about like what you think would have helped you with your family and how that could have been more supported. And also you're young, you don't necessarily have a language for like what sick is, what the symptoms are. Like, how do you say my brain feels weird? Like, and get someone to take you seriously. Like, so let's talk through maybe some ideas and some ways that maybe we can help some other like kids and parents out to like come together and like take each other seriously. Like, is there like some sort of safe word we can use with our like young kids and teens? Like, no, this is for real. Like, I'm not trying to avoid a math test. Like, I'm scared for my life right now, Mom.
Exactly. So, do you know what? I don't have a simple solution. I just feel like, in general, parents tend to think that kids are being overly dramatic. And I feel like always trying and sit down or tell them, make them realize that it's okay and it's gonna be okay, even if they can't express it well, or to say, if something's going on, you don't want to talk to me about it, but talk to a trusted person. I'm not saying like a psychiatrist, whatnot, but I just feel it's about I was not scared of my parents, but after a while, I was scared of annoying them so much because I knew something was wrong. And so, yeah, I'm not sure exactly what the magic, if there's really a magic to it. I just think, yeah, I think we should listen to kids way more and also maybe be less critical of people who want therapy or who have issues. The sense of like, also, I feel like there's a stigma around therapy with kids. That's how I lived it, or so maybe it's my education. And only after that I was diagnosed with my epilepsy and for me to understand what was going to happen, what the medication were going to do to me, etc., that's when I started actually seeing someone and talking about it and adopting, obviously. And yeah.
What an amazing thing in here, because I don't think a lot of people consider this as an important step in the diagnosing of a child or a teenager is therapy. This is a kid whose entire world has changed. And no parent is, even if you are a therapist and you are a parent, you are not qualified to handle this. You need to get that kid help.
Exactly. I think you do need help for these things, but since it's a bit stigmatized, then even children are like, oh, I have to go to the therapist. I have a problem. No, you are feeling something and you need to understand and explain what that problem is. And sometimes you can just go to therapy to figure out how to explain to other people how you feel and just have those tools to be able to communicate in the best way possible with the little words that you have when you're a child. I think that's more that the way of the path, I guess. That would be my idea personally, I guess.
It's a really good path. I just want to point out real quick, I didn't mean to sound judgmental for anyone listening. I am in the United States and I know how expensive that is. And I know that there are parents there who are like, I just spent $40,000 to get my child diagnosed. I cannot afford $300 a week. And I hear you, I feel that, and I'm not judging you. I'm just saying if it's a possibility for you and that's something that you can do, it might be tremendously helpful for your family. I wanted to talk a little bit, if you're okay with it, about your attempt, because, and we don't need to go into details about it. I just want to hear a little bit about some things that you think could have been done before and after that could have helped you. Because even as an adult, I have friends I am very worried about right now. I am deeply concerned about at least 3 people that I check in every few weeks, just going, hey, I'm really concerned and I love you. And I don't really know what else to say other than I'm concerned and I love you and I'm here. Do you have any insight on things that people can do that doesn't feel smothering but can be aware, alert, and at all helpful?
I feel like that can come from your friends for sure. So friends who actually like, if you're concerned about a friend, I'm guessing that means you know that person really well. In my case, my best friend who I talk to on the phone every night for hours on end, she knew something was wrong with me. She knew. She actually pointed it out multiple times. She's like, Celeste, we're on the phone, and all of a sudden, you're not talking. Hello, hello, hello. And all of a sudden, I'm like, what were you saying? She's like, it's been 45 seconds. And she was scared. And so after a while, it was more about her saying, let's hang out a bit more often. Or about, I love to play guitar at that time. And she was like, come over, let's play guitar, let's take your guitars, let's go to the park. I feel like it's really about bringing that friend back. I think she just loves and who reminds her of who she is when she doesn't feel sick or down or depressed. All those things that you love to do that you don't do when you're depressed and you stay home and you don't eat or you eat too much and you drink or you don't drink or you get drunk or you get high or you do whatever the hell you can. I feel like a lot of people who have chronic pains do, let's say, not necessarily use drugs or alcohol, but as a getaway sometimes. I feel like that's the case. So yeah, I'm going all over the place. I'm so sorry. So yes.
What I'm hearing from you is that we need people in our lives that can leave personality breadcrumbs for us when we get lost. You like guitar. Here's the guitar. You enjoy touching grass. So for 5 minutes, we're going to go outside and touch grass. I think it's a brilliant way of explaining that to people, because I don't think that if you haven't had clinical depression, you don't know what depression is. Like, clinical depression is different, situational depression is different, but how to work on those things, just the personality breadcrumbs, I think, is such a helpful way for friends and family to know.
I think so. That's what I do. So I do when I'm in my highs, when I'm good, when I'm not feeling depressed, or when epilepsy is not completely flaring up, I'm who I am now. Like I'm a bubbly and I do go all over the place because my brain has trouble structuring, that's for sure. When I'm down or when my illness or whatnot, people don't want to be around me.
That's always my fear. And that's like and by the way, if anyone's like new to this podcast, we do not do interviews, we do conversations. So just letting you all know, if you're like, why is she talking? Because it's a conversation. Okay. So that's always my fear when I am around people, is like, if I show my pain, if I'm not interesting and fun and goofy enough and silly enough and brilliant enough, no one's going to want to hang out with me. And it's like this weird singing for your sufferer thing that I always like, am super concerned about.
I understand that too. Honestly, I just feel like if at the end of the day, if people really, I was going to say if people really love you, they won't let you go. But I feel like sometimes it can still be difficult for some people. And I feel like it's just, about talking to them and being like, this is who I am. And it can be difficult for other people. And it's kind of like with me, it's like you're in or you're out. And that person can just be out, but if they're in.
That's freeing. Yeah.
And if they're in, though, they can't tell you after, oh my God, No, they can't. It's like you're in. And if one day you want to be out, then you're out. But there's middle ground. That's how I feel.
That sounds incredibly healthy boundaries. Like your generation, your generation and younger, I'm like, how did y'all learn boundaries? Because I was not taught those. They are fantastic. I am trying to learn them now as an adult. I wanted to really quickly just say something because I am a parent. I have raised sick kids. And I just want to say really quickly, because I think it's something that I see a lot of in other parents that concerns me. And it's this idea of like, they don't want to be fooled. And it's fooled by your kid is almost more important than your kid trusting and believing that they're safe in this. And for me personally, my family personally, I would have rather my kids fool me and know that I believe them than to go the other way. That's just because I was a sick kid who didn't get believed. So I might have gone too far the other way. I just want to throw that out there as a discussion. So you're a theater kid and you have this epilepsy. That feels problematic between like the hours expected, the physical exhaustion, and the lighting. Can you tell me what precautions had to be taken, how that all worked out?
Yeah. Oh, Lord. When so right after my diagnosis, it was really about me adapting, yes, to different things. So lightning obviously was a big thing. So I have photosensitivity, which comes very often with epilepsy. So that was more about making sure that in the morning there's no like harsh light or whatnot, wearing sunglasses, all of those things. So there's things that you can do, but at the end of the day, I'm going to be very clear. People can't, or places that you go to, they can't always accommodate you. You can't always expect in an office that there's no bright windows and they can find a space for you. There's not always that space to actually be able to accommodate. So it's really about you having to accommodate yourself, basically. And
so what things were you able to bring or use to accommodate yourself, or like rules that you had for yourself?
I tried to not get myself in too many stressful situations because epileptic episodes are triggered by stress. And then again, I was stressed of having an epileptic episode. So basically, it's like the wheel of torture because you're always scared of something. Honestly, I have to say regarding that, I'm not sure I'm the best person because my tools, I still don't really know if I really have them, to be quite honest.
It's a good, honest answer because I don't know if any of us, like, even if something works, it's like, for how long is that going to work?
Exactly. We're so different also. So I feel like epilepsy is a really weird one because I've met epileptics, honestly. They're so different than me, for example. Like my epilepsy is kind of a bad one. So yeah.
Explain the differences because I don't think I know what the differences are.
So let's just say there are two main epileptics. One is called the petit mal. It's actually in English. And one is called the grand mal.
The grand mal seizure versus the petit mal.
Exactly. So I had the grand mal. So that means I have generalized seizures. It means I don't remember. And it means I urinate on myself and stuff like that. And I will have absences, like I'll be here, won't be here, the eyes are flickering, all of those things. When you have le petit mal, you don't have generalized seizures, so you don't faint or you don't lose consciousness, basically. So that's the main difference between these two types of epilepsy. The problem with mine is that you can really fall at any given time.
So, how did you handle this as a young adult, a teenager, someone who probably wanted to have some autonomy and drive and be out with friends? Kids can be pretty cruel, and I'm just thinking there's a lot of symptoms you just listed that could have. I was not a strong teenager. I did not have a strong personality. I had lots of issues. I cannot imagine how I would have handled that.
Honestly, do you know what? I'm going to say something that's maybe a little bit sad to hear, but I was bullied then and I'm bullied now, even more as an adult.
Wow. Can you
Yeah.
explain a little bit about that? From like, I definitely want to hear about like the kid stuff, but the adult stuff I think is also really interesting. Are you like bullied at your work or with friends and dating? And
So I have a long time partner of 10 years, so thank God for that. I don't have to go into the dating world with that stuff.
I told my husband, "You do not die. We don't divorce. I'm never doing this again, ever."
You don't die, all right? Never.
Yeah, no, you're not allowed. I'm sorry. Like, death comes for you. You say, "I'm sorry. My wife said no." Another time.
Come back later.
Yeah, later. At least like sync it up because I am not doing this.
I understand that though. I get what you mean. The problem is it was difficult to deal with the kids obviously making fun of me, and I ultimately changed schools altogether. I left my school. Yeah.
Wow. Was there an incident that led you to that or just general issues with the student body?
Well, the problem is when I came back from the hospital, everyone at school knew that that I had tried to commit suicide. So there was that thing where, kids were just like mean, regarding that. And then there's the fact that I come back and I'm weird, even weirder. And so at that time, I just told my mom that I couldn't take this school anymore. And I feel like my parents saw how depressed I was. That's what I had to do. It was my way to cope with it. And in the new school, people didn't know about my history. So it was just like, hi, new girl. She has epilepsy. These are the symptoms. You know what I mean? So it was different.
Yeah.
It was a different way. But yeah, ultimately I did change schools.
It sounds like when you moved to the new school, being open and letting everyone know was a helpful thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because then it's more people are intrigued. You know what I mean? Oh, epilepsy, what is that? It was not cool. I'm not going to say it's cool, but it was.
The Cool Kids Club.
It's the seizure girl.
T-shirts you need to make.
Swear to God. See, hey, I was going to say something rude, but blah, blah.
No, we do lots of storing around. And also apparently tails in the face. Oh my goodness.
Cats.
Sorry. So if you are listening, I'm very sorry. If you want, you can go over to our YouTube section and see Pandorica Eloise, who has been clawing my hand through this entire interview. She's in a very playful mood, and I can't get rid of her, so that's just what's going to happen. The black lab will jump up in a minute.
But I have two cats as well, so they might do the same thing.
Yeah, we have a Pandora and Meows, and then I have a hamster that cosplays as a dog. It's a pug. And then we just got a Labrador puppy, so that's chaos. Utter and complete chaos. I do not know what I did to my life or why I did it. I have not had this much chaos since I had small children. I don't know why I felt the need to do that again, but here we are. Sleepless nights, all the fun.
Yeah, animals do bring joy. I find it very comforting.
Yeah, I don't know how your disorder works if you end up in bed for long periods of time, but I spent about 60 to 70% of my life in bed, and if I didn't have these animals, I wouldn't make it.
Yeah, of course, I understand that. Yeah.
So for you, for your, like, what kind of stuff did you have to do to get through school? Like, did you have to get, like, different testing times? What were some of, because I want to give people, I'll see if I can release your episode a little earlier. But a lot of people are going to be starting college. They're going to be starting high school. There's a lot of kids out there and people are starting jobs. I would like to help them get an idea of what accommodations they should be asking for.
So, first of all, I really do think it's important that within their team, and even other team managers or whatnot are aware. Or you need someone, and I'm not saying HR, like, when you get hired and you need to tell HR or whatnot. I think it's really good to have someone on your team or at school, your buddy, and he's your buddy. He's your epileptic buddy, right?
I
And
like it.
yeah,
There's bracelets involved in this. That's epilepsy buddy bracelets.
exactly. Oh my God, that would be so cute, actually. And you have that.
Them, side hustle.
You know what? Why not? Why not? Let's make epileptic merch.
All for you. Yes.
Let's do it. Okay, everyone listening, we're gonna open a shop after that.
Nothing to promote, but I think you're gonna have like something by the end. By the time we release this, you're gonna be like, and here is the epilepsy merch.
So yeah, you need to find someone that you trust, and even if you go to high school, to college or whatnot, and you have no friends at the beginning, just find someone. Find someone that looks vibey to you, that you feel confident, and explain to them exactly how it works and what they can do. And most of the time, when you know that you have someone on your team or near who knows what's going to happen to you, you feel safe. There's one person at least, even if you faint in front of 35 people in your class, you have that one person who's going to get up, who's going to come to the floor and hold you. And oh my God, what's happening? Ambulance. No, you have that calmness that soothes you. And yeah, I would say get a buddy, get a buddy. That's really important. And then after, I just do really feel like it's important to, be careful where you're sitting, to make sure in your classroom, if there's big windows, tell your teacher that you have to either switch rooms or whatnot. You just need to, I think you need to speak up in general and not be scared of what other people are going to think. But I would say watch out for the lights and have trusted people around you who will know how to react to your epileptic episode.
What are some of the ways that, as you discussed, like that you can sometimes like lose bladder control, and I think as an adult we probably could handle that a little better. But if you're 12, and maybe I'm just old because I grew up before we had social media, and like the idea of someone reading your diary made you want to lose your mind.
Yeah.
But now they just put it out there for everyone. So maybe I'm old fashioned, and the idea of something like that happening is just like it would have done me in at 12. And I'm just wondering what advice you have for other like kids who are experiencing like bladder or bowel instability, and this is a reality of their life as a kid. How they can handle like if something happens. What's your advice for a kid who's dealing with something like that at school, or for like as an adult looking back and going, this would have been great for the adults to have handled this way?
It's a tricky one. So the solution back then was like legit, just you could wear a diaper, but obviously I didn't want to do that. Maybe it's another merch idea, but you know what? Like today you can use, possibly, there's like for women, maybe men don't want, but the
Period underwear are amazing, especially for those of us who are hitting menopause and have had children. Oh my gosh, you need to go get the period underwear, like especially by Salt. Salt period underwear is amazing.
Perfect. Honestly, it's good. I feel wear more often. I feel more secure. I know that if I do have, I mean, it depends how much you heat
Yeah.
from, because it can be a lot. It can be a lot. But if you have a good thing that's for your heavy flow, after for men, for a little boy, I don't really know.
Yeah. We could try to do some research, but I don't know that one.
I don't know that one either. I mean, maybe they should just make some. I should make some. I'll make period.
Honestly, do you know how many men need something like that? Like, it's not that men don't experience incontinence either. There's plenty of men who have bladder instability and bowel instability, and they could really use a product. Like, I cannot tell you how freeing it was when the period underwear came out, because when I travel, like, it is hell for me to stand up and go to the bathroom. And I've had two children. If I sneeze, it's going to be an issue. So having those period underwear, like no one notices, it doesn't feel any different than regular underwear, and I'm like, this is so freeing. And like periods, even if I had been 12 and so I'd been like, hey, you can wear these if you are not sure if this is gonna happen or not,
hell. No, it was hell. So for that, honestly, I don't want to, since I don't have to, I don't know what today, if there is anything that there's new that they can propose, but it's true that at my age, apart from, just having nothing, or then actually my mom, like I would put big pads. Sometimes in the morning, if I felt that I was not feeling well and I could potentially have an epileptic episode. But honestly, yeah, it's kind of part of the thing anyways. You kind of just have to accept it and move on.
Some of the symptoms you experience that kind of let you know this is coming up.
Okay, so my eyes will start flickering big time. So when it starts to flicker, I know I don't know if I'm going to have a full on seizure or just little like flickering and then it's going to stop. So it's that. And then my teeth start grinding. When it starts grinding, people know. And usually when I grind my teeth, I'm down. And then I'll wake up. And what's difficult is that the person doesn't remember.
Mm.
Panic when you wake up. So it's also good that people around you need to give you space as well. People tend to come near to you and want to pick you up or hold you. No. Like there needs to be calmness around you.
Okay, let's break this down then for people, because chances are you might be like, even if you think epilepsy does not affect you, there's going to be an epileptic person within your vicinity who might have a grand mal seizure. Let's break this down. How, if someone starts having a seizure in front of you, what is the preferred way you want them to act?
So first of all, you need to sit the person down anywhere possible. If it's on the ground, it's on the ground. It doesn't matter. You sit them down and you make sure that if they fall, so you put something, you take off your coat, you put it on a ball, you put it, behind, or if the person wants to lie down, make sure that head when the seizure really starts, if you tap your head, you can obviously have a really big accident if that happens. So people just need to be mindful of your head. That's very, very important. If it starts going full on, there's a lot of like trembling and shaking and everything like that. It's also to make sure it's usually the legs. Same, make sure you don't tap your legs. So most of the time when I have seizures and there's something around, I'll tap my legs and I'll have a bunch of bruises after. So not too cool. And I would say you just need to you need to stay next to the person, but not clutter them in a way, not clutter, but, be too much in their space. And what's really, really important with the grand mal seizures is that you have to time them. So if the person seizure for over a minute and a half, 2 minutes, if it's over that time, ambulance needs to be called.
Okay.
For that time, it can come and go. It can last 30, 40 seconds to a minute, and then you're back, but it can happen again right after. That's what's called. So sometimes you'll wake up from it, and then you'll panic because you realize that you're on the floor, and boom, you'll have a second one. So that's a really tricky thing as well. But yeah, you just need to, I would really say, make sure make sure everything is, secure, but without forcing the person either. You need to let that seizure happen and you time it. And after
And
that,
time it.
and you time it. Yeah, absolutely.
And then what verbally is a good thing for someone when someone's coming out of the seizure and is feeling like really confused and concerned? Is there like a particular way that you want someone to talk to you to just explain, I'm here, this is what happened, this is who's been called?
Most of the time, obviously, you're on the floor, so obviously, that you've had a seizure, you're epileptic, that, but it's
This again.
but it's more about you don't know how it happened or when it happened. So you see the floor. So where are you? So it's like, Celeste, we've had an episode. We are here. We are on this street, or we were in this cafe. You remind the person of what they were doing before. So you put them back into that space before they broke down and had a seizure. Basically, that would be my advice.
So how do you feel, as I feel like all of us have like something in the media that's like done our disorder in the media. It's, at least in my experience, very rarely based even remotely in truth. How do you feel your disorder has been shown in the media?
Epilepsy in general, you mean? I mean, I don't feel like it's something that I see very often at all. It's not really I follow this a couple of people, but in general, I don't feel like we talk about epilepsy at all. And let me tell you something. Not only do we not talk about it, but the medication and the research, it's not there yet. It's not there. They're still doing a bunch of clinical trials on people. There was a huge, huge scandal 15 years ago because they were giving epileptics something called Depakote. That particular medication was not at all meant for women under the age of 18. And I took it until I was 23.
Talk to me about that. What happened?
So basically, women started having children that were deformed or had serious, serious mental issues, deformations, and just disease in general. And it was because they continued to take that poison, Depakote, whilst they were pregnant. So, and the sad thing is for me, I'm going to get into it. I had to have an abortion because I found out that I was pregnant, but it wasn't planned. It was just a pill accident. But anyways, and I couldn't have kept the baby even if I wanted to.
Yep. You get full support here, by the way. I hope you know you're getting, there's full support here. This is a very important story.
I know it's a tricky subject for abortion, and I understand some people who are against it. There's like, everyone has their own beliefs, but there was no way I was putting a child into this world who was going to have any kind of illness, because I mean, obviously they can, but not that way. It wasn't possible, but it destroyed the lives of women and children. And at that point, we heard about it. Epilepsy was talked about. And then all of a sudden,
The disturbing part of that is like, if you're going to be pregnant, it's not like you can just not have epilepsy medication. It's not like epilepsy stops because you're having a baby. And the confidence of doctors with new medications has been jaw-dropping, let's say. And this is a perfectly safe med. What are you doing questioning me? And then we find out things like this. And then cycle, rinse, repeat. And when it comes to medications, I hope everyone knows by now that most of these are not tested on women. Almost all medications and all medical procedures are tested on white men. And they're just starting now to test out birth control on women. Figure. Isn't it crazy? And then there's almost no testing for very obvious reasons for pregnancy. So almost no medication is properly peer-reviewed tested for pregnancy, which makes family planning very interesting when you're chronically ill.
So in my case, it might not be possible for me to have a child. I don't think it's going to be possible for me because of the type of epilepsy I have, because there is no other medication that I could take. I don't take Depakote anymore, but it's even the one I'm taking now. I would have to probably be on bed rest the whole time. And also it can be scary. So if I have a child, then I'm alone. What if I have a seizure? You know?
Yeah, there's so much about your disorder that I don't have the same disorder. I have a different disorder, but my disorder also takes a lot of autonomy from me. Where my 18-year-old, by the time she was 13, had more autonomy than I did because no one could trust that I could drive because I can faint, I can dislocate. I can't go for walks by myself. I have to have someone with me if I'm having a good day because good days can go away real fast, as you know. So how does that affect you? Because like it feels like all of a sudden we go from like being full adults, even if I was a sick kid too, but I managed to like have a life through my 20s mostly, and then all of a sudden it's like I'm back to being 12. Like I have to ask permission to leave the house.
Yeah, I see what you feel like you regress a lot. Absolutely. I feel like also, how do I say, the medication for epileptics ruin your body after a while. It ruins it because it stimulates your brain in different ways all of the time. And after a while, especially when you start aging, it starts to affect your bone density and stuff like that. So
I didn't know that. Oh my God.
Yeah, so the problem
Wow.
is, and actually that's a sort of a fun fact that I do want to say. Epilepsy also is a very weird one because usually no one's born with epilepsy, by the way. No one. You become epileptic. And the weirder thing is, most people are you stop being epileptic, basically. Sorry, I don't have the right word in English. So it comes and goes, basically. It'll just disappear one day. Most epileptic. And I'm a weird one because that's why my case is a bit specific and my epilepsy is a bit tricky. It's because, so now I'm 37, so I've had epilepsy for almost like 30 years. And I've been taking that medication that I'm not supposed to take at all. 27 years. So it's a weird one. It's a really weird one. Like the brain, it's weird. It's a weird one.
Is there any understanding of what causes it?
So apparently it's trauma. Yes.
Well, jeez. You think no one has anything to be traumatized about these days? Wow.
Yeah, it's trauma. Apparently, it's something that happens in your chemicals that are in your brain. It's sort of like a coping mechanism in a way. Or
Wow.
for people, I know people who like abuse cocaine or stuff like that, where their brain just sort of like stops at some point. But other than that, it's a weird one to just be epileptic and then all of a sudden you're not epileptic anymore. It's a really weird thing. And so I've been sort of living, now I've lost hope, but for years I've waited for it to go away.
That's cruel. That is cruelty.
Horrible. It was really, that's the difficult part because you wait for it to leave and it never does. And now my doctors have said to me, it might not happen. Yeah, it is what it is. So now I feel like I'm also turning a point in my life with my illness where I'm like, this is going to be forever, Celeste. So now just own up to it. But it's taking me all that time.
So how did you prepare for this? Like, you don't know how long it's going to last. You think maybe it might go away. But you got diagnosed at an age where most people are starting to consider, like, what do I want to be when I grow up? What do I want my life to look like? So how did you prepare for this? Did you choose a certain career knowing, like, for me, like, I knew I was going to be disabled. I was told I wouldn't walk after I was 30. And so, like, I lived very specifically knowing that. Do you, like, was there things that you did or you planned for, careers you said no to and decided to do differently?
That's a funny one. It's a very good question for me.
Yay!
It is. So the first thing, I wanted to be an actress. So I let that go because I mean, you can't, like, I was just too scared. So I stopped doing all of that for a long time. I stopped doing everything I loved for a long time, to be quite honest. And then later I decided that I wasn't going to let it stop me in any way, but I had it was difficult for me to prepare, as I said, because I really felt like it was going to go away. But all of the things that would put me in front line, like singing or acting and all the things that I wanted to do, I was a swimmer. I couldn't swim anymore. I had to stop everything. So I was in denial for a really long time. So I didn't do really anything about it for a very long time. And ultimately, I'm a photographer today. And so I went to photography school. And obviously, it was tricky because there's studios, because there's flashes and everything. And actually, it felt freeing because I came to school, I have epilepsy, some things I won't be able to do, and that's okay. And it forged also who I am as a photographer. I do black and white portraits of people on the streets. No light, no artificial, just a feeling. And I think the fact that I, I have it stimulated my sensitivity. It made me very sensitive to be epileptic because I hated people who make fun of me. And also there's something about the medication that's really important to understand. When you have epilepsy, your neurons and your synapse don't connect well. That's what happens. And when you take that medication as an epileptic, it's like taking amphetamines for a normal person. So that's why it can be jittery. That's why it can be, it acts like an amphetamine in your brain. And people will make fun of, oh, you look stressed out, you're jittery or stuff like that. And that's complicated. So I feel the only way for me, it was denial for a very long time. And then after, it was doing what people told me I couldn't do. I was too scared my dream of being an actress. I let it go, but I wanted to be a photographer at some point. And I said, screw it. I'll be an epileptic photographer,
So many ideas for business names for you. So is that what you're doing for a living now? You're a photographer?
Yes, I'm a freelance photographer. Obviously, it's difficult to live from only being a photographer. And also, there's a lot of times where I just physically cannot be a photographer. I can't get up, or my hip hurts, or I fell, or I had a seizure the day before. So I'm not going to go out for a couple of days, or I'm in the hospital because I had a seizure. So that can be complicated because, as you know, canceling and putting back, and clients don't always understand that, obviously. That can be tricky. That can be tricky.
I was a photographer. I was a professional photographer for almost 15 years in the Silicon Valley. And yeah, it was hard why I took you as an interview. Is I was like, I totally want to talk to you about epilepsy because, oh my gosh, we haven't had someone with epilepsy on for, I think, about 4 years. But this is the project I did after I had to stop being a photographer. So in my contracts, I had like all these things about if I have to cancel because like I always would hire a second photographer who was as good as I was for weddings, and I would pay them their full rate for a wedding day just in case I couldn't do it. And I would talk to the brides and the grooms. I'm like, this is the reality of this. This is what happens. This is my second, and they are going to be doing the running. I'm going to be doing the details and spending my time with you, walking very slowly with my cane. And it was a thing. And I don't know about you, but I would love to talk to you about this one aspect because this is like what broke my brain open was I had a client who saw me limping and I had been in the closet the whole time. I was convinced if anyone knew I was disabled, they would never hire me. And so, like, for probably about like 6 years out of 10 years, I didn't let anyone know I was sick or hurting. And this one woman who was a therapist for chronic pain was like, I can see you're in pain. There's no way you can hide that. And she talked to me about coming out of the pain closet and out of the disability closet with my clients. And I'm like, I'm going to lose all my business. It doubled my business. It was amazing, and like the parents, because I stopped doing weddings at that point, and I was just doing boudoir and newborns and family and headshots and stuff. And once I was honest, I cannot tell you how many of the people that show up early to help me set up the studio and stay after to help me break it down. And then, like, the person I had in the studio next door who was selling, like, cute little dresses, she would come over in the morning and help me. I'm like, what a beautiful world. And I was just so convinced everyone would, like, slap me away. But instead, like, and I'm not saying this is everyone's experience. I'm sure people have horrible stories about this. I'm just saying it was a beautiful moment of feeling supported in a place I did not think I would be. So how do you do this? How do you tell your clients this? Do you, like, talk to me about how this works running your own business, which is because I'm now not doing it anymore. And so I'm so curious what that all looks like. I can't imagine running a photography business in this day and age.
No, so honestly, probably I don't think I've ever told my clients. I never even thought about that clause thing, which is really smart.
Save my ass. May I tell you, there was once that I had to use it.
Yeah.
And it legally saved my tail.
Exactly. But that's the thing that's super smart, actually. So yeah, for everyone who's listening, actually, to us.
Oh, no, like if you even if you're not sick, if you run your own business, I need you to put an emergency clause in here because honestly, the time I needed to use it, it wasn't because I was sick, it was because I was in a car accident.
Wow, oh my God, that's so fun.
Yeah, 3 days before a wedding, I was T-boned at like 35 miles an hour. I had to be cut out of my car. I still shot the wedding, but I was not as good as I usually am. And I did have a second there to like handle everything, but it became an issue. And I was so glad I had that contract.
Oh my God. Oh, I feel for you. So yeah, that's
Oh my God, nightmare, right?
I mean, it's 3 days before. That's kind of cruel. Like, what was I gonna say? So actually, do you know what? When I reached out to you the first time when we decided we're gonna have it.
By the way, everyone, this is like a year in the making almost. I think we're almost at a year.
So I reached out to you because I knew about your podcast, and I got fired from my job. So I so often do like office jobs in between, just like short contracts, 6 months or whatnot. But this one I actually really liked, and I wanted to stay there and possibly become a photographer in-house.
That'd be amazing.
I was so happy.
I mean, look for clients. Oh my God.
Exactly. That was my thing also. So I don't have that stress of the clients. And so they know me, and I felt safe. I felt safer in that context. Listen, Listen, what the hell happened to me 2 days before? 2 days before they were telling me, okay, we're going to do a test trial with you for a month as an in-house content creator, photographer. It's full on epileptic seizure like I've never had before. And the next day, obviously, I had to go to the hospital. Unfortunately, that day there was a private showcase at work, and I got fired the very next day. I was asked not to come back, and they sent my stuff over. And they're allowed to do that in the UK.
I was just going to ask, because I'm like, in the US, that gets crunchy.
Years they can fire you here.
For how many years?
3 years. Oh, sorry, cut off. So here, they can fire you for 3 years. And after that 3 years, that's when you have passed like the official probation. 3 years here.
My God, that's crazy. So can they fire you for anything? Like, it could be anything? Anything. Like, there's no protected status for anything.
Here, zero. Zero.
Oh my God, I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either.
Romanticize the UK quite a bit. Like, I think I really romanticize the UK, and that's good to know. Wow.
That's insane. And I didn't really know that. I actually thought I was going to be able to, like, I grew up in America. I thought I was going to sue them for discrimination. That was going to happen. And then I was like, I talked to the agency, the temp agency who had placed me there. And they're like, no. Even if they were going to hire you, there's 3 years. So now at this point, when I'm telling you, I'm scared to get a new office job because, yeah, I will have an epileptic episode at one point or another. There's no going around that. If you tell them at the interview, you don't get a call back. I've never gotten a call back if I said it in the interview. And then I usually don't put it in my health form when I feel like some people might, when I'm not sure. Like, I'll make my mark in the company and then I'll tell them. Do you know what I mean? So that happened to me as well.
I hear you. And then here in the United States, we have the extra issue of having RFK Jr. as the head of our health services, who doesn't want us to have any of our ADHD meds, any of our pain meds, any of our meds. And so a lot of us are getting very concerned about what to put on any form, even with our doctors, because they're trying to create databases here in the United States of all of our medical issues and who's on what meds. And this is getting horrifying. I know I make a lot of jokes, but we're terrified here. Like, I cannot sugarcoat how scared we are.
I didn't know it was, I didn't know it was like that bad. I mean, healthcare in general in the United States kind of sucks.
Yeah, when you were saying call an ambulance, I'm like, maybe when the person wakes up, ask them if they're okay with that, because it was $4,000 for me to go 1 mile in an ambulance with no help. Like, I didn't get any meds in the ambulance. I got nothing. Like, I just was driven from point A to point B, and it was $4,000. And then my insurance was like, you didn't need your insurance can retroactively deny your ambulance ride, by the way. So you could feel like you really need an ambulance. And this is why here in the US, a lot of us take Ubers to the hospital. Most of us will just take an Uber or a Lyft to the hospital because you don't know how much the ambulance is going to charge. You don't know if your insurance will cover it. You have no way to get pre-approved for it because it's an ambulance and it's an emergency. The worst is the helicopters. So here in the US, if you need to be airlifted, find another way because it's $40,000 and your insurance will not cover it. You'll be fighting it for at least 3 years.
Dollars. So here, obviously, it's not at all that bad, but fun fact.
Don't let Boris touch your insurance. Every time, I'm so fascinated by your politics. I watch BBC News all the time. I am watching everything that's going on. I'm like, oh my God, y'all need to scream about the NHS. You need to be like body blocking these politicians from privatizing.
Bad. No, sorry, UK, but NHS, but fair enough, they have no funds or whatever, like most.
None.
They have zero, but yeah, it's crazy. See, I've been waiting for a dentist appointment for 8 months, and I'm getting it finally next week. I could go private, obviously, but it would cost like huge. So via the NHS, 8 months for dentist, and I literally have like an abscess that I've been living with, and every time.
Oh my God.
I know, they're like, just take 10 pain meds. Yeah, guys, like, how much pain meds can you take? Can one take? Crazy.
So it's like that's not gonna take the pain down. Like, I don't know. Can you just explain to me how doctors think that, like, oh, you take an opioid, you're out of pain? No. Oh my God, no, it's a reduction. It's a reduction in harm. It takes me from a 10 to a 7.
I agree. It's crazy. So, but yeah, the first time I went to the pharmacy here to get my medication, so I was coming from France, and I had to take my medication every day, 150 milligrams, which is quite a lot.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's every morning for all my life now, apparently. So if you don't have epilepsy that's bad, like really bad, like mine, you have to pay for your medication. So I pay zero because I'm considered a handicapped person. So I got my meds for free 100%. Like I go to the pharmacy, they just give it to me for zero. But before I was officially declared as a handicapped person and had that right, for about a month of meds, it was like 400 pounds.
It's still staring at you in American, because that would be like thousands.
Yeah. So,
But no, like, it's totally unfair. Please don't get me wrong. Like, I totally hear you. It's unfair. It's unacceptable what you were dealing with. But like, still staring at you in American because
it's still not that much. Okay, yeah, I see what you mean. But I'm more thinking about like I was fortunate enough to have my partner, who could support me financially.
yeah.
Who's not working. But what if you're young? What if you're poor? Do you know what I mean? Like, what do you do? It's like you have to be really highly epileptic to get it for free. But what about the people who are just medium epileptic? Oh, you're medium, you're fine.
I'm just telling you that you all in the UK need to take notes from France, and y'all need to like step up the way that you like protest your politicians. Like, it needs to get more Scotland. You guys need more Scottish like vibes because it's a lot of polite to people who are really doing you all harm.
Honestly, you know what? They're like the English in general are overly polite with saying, screw you in the background.
Boris Johnson seems to be able to walk around London just fine. I'm not advocating anything. Please do not get me wrong. I'm not advocating anything. I'm just not advocating making people comfortable who are doing horrible things. I think, hey, you're a wanker is a perfectly acceptable greeting for Boris. That's my British. That's the best British I can do. And I will not do an accent. I got clocked as a Californian at the, what's your major train station? It was at Paddington or something. It was like super loud. And I was talking to my son and I was just chatting with him. And like someone came like walking around the sweetest, most lovely British accent. I was like, California? I'm like, yep. Did you want to guess Bay Area? Yeah, that's me. Yeah, okay. Didn't know how that much of an accent, but I got clocked so fast.
Oh my God, yeah, not make fun, but like they exaggerate the American accent a lot.
Yeah. But our accents are so varied. Like, I live in California. You can go, like, from one city to the next, and we have totally different accents. Like, if you go, like, South Bay, North Bay, East Bay.
There's so many different accents, even from East Coast to West Coast. Like, there's so many different accents.
In London, it's down to the street. I just got back from London a little while ago. That was a wild experience as a disabled American being in England. I was like, this is... And then we went up to Scotland, which was even more different than London. But y'all have way more access than we have here. I could get around in my wheelchair so much easier than I could here, even in like a San Francisco area. I was shocked and amazed. I could get my pills over the counter, which was, I am in the middle of a nightmare with my pain clinic, and that there was no humiliation exercise that I could just go in and go, hey, I'm in a lot of pain. What can I take? And they're like, here. And I'm like, oh my goodness, that's a new experience. Public transportation, so good. Like, I didn't have to try to walk around. Like, there was a wheel around. Like, there's public transportation that worked. Like, yeah, I was ready to move. By the end of our trip, I was like, so, honey, can you get a transfer from your job to Scotland? Would be great. Can we do Scotland? I love Scotland.
Beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. But I do agree that in general here, there is an empathy for the handicapped more. feel than other places. But it depends what handicap I feel also. But if, in terms of like being mobile, it's true that it's better. It's way, way, way better here than even better than in France, better than in a lot of other places that I've been. I really do agree with you. They're very good with taking care of their handicapped.
And I just want to put out there, if you are disagreeing with us and you're like, bitch, I'm in London right now and you do not know what it's like every day with a wheelchair. No, I don't. I was only there as a tourist. And if you have a different experience, please stitch this. Tell us about it. I want to hear what is part of what I'm fascinated by is like how disability works in other countries. I find it really interesting and different states in the United States because it is very different state to state here. And wow, I was blown away by Edinburgh. Like I say, I can get I was so happy. A total side note, I actually applied for the college, so we'll see what happens there. I applied for the PhD program, so maybe I'll be over on your side in another year or so in the PhD program.
Perfect. We'll manage our pain together. We'll be pain buddies.
We can wear t-shirts. It'll be great. We'll have all the merch. It'll be wonderful.
We're going to create the boxers for incontinence in children.
Oh my God, do you know how life-changing that would be for kids? Like just doing like even like for everyone, like unisex stuff. Like there's so many adults that I talked to who were sick as kids, and that was just their worst nightmare was like in class having something happen.
Very embarrassing. It's very, very embarrassing. And also it can shock people. That's for sure.
And the teachers who don't necessarily, this is like one of my big things that I'm so upset about, especially in the United States, is this like push to remove cell phones from children in school. And I was a teacher here. I understand why you don't want the kids to have cell phones. I get it. But the fact is there's a lot of teachers who are not nice people and they'll try to keep kids from taking their meds, getting to the bathroom. And no one believes kids. I'm sorry. No one believes children. They need to have proof.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I think that's really, again, I've suffered from that. And I'm pretty certain, and my parents to this day, I don't know how to say sorry. They still think about it. They still feel bad. They still feel the shame. And honestly, it became almost smothering because my parents started overprotecting me.
Yeah.
Oh, you can't do that and you can't do that, or I'm too scared of you doing that. And it put more barriers, but it's true that since we take time sometimes to figure some things out with children. Yeah, we don't listen to them. That is really something, yeah, we need to work on that.
Oh my gosh. And like the overprotecting thing, like I did that to my daughter. I got way overprotective of her and bless her heart. At like 15, 14, she sat me down and she was like, okay, mom, I know that you trust me, but you're scared about other things and things you can't control. So here's what I want to be doing. Here's how I will mitigate your fears. Here's what I will do to help make you feel safer with this decision. And I hope that you will agree to let me do the things I need to do. And that was an awesome argument. I agreed. I was like, okay, that's fair. And you're right. It was nothing to do with you. And with these things here, yes, I would feel, I won't feel, I'll bite my nails to the quick, but I'll handle it. You do not know terror until like your like kid walks out the door without you and you're like, every TV movie goes through your head. It's insane. It's like, obviously, the next call will be the police because I'm a normal, sane human being. I have no neural spiciness. Of course, the worst thing will happen. I love the kids. So I wanted to ask you, what are things, because like for my disability, the things that could make life way easier for me is please keep your dogs on leashes. Do not let your dogs run around because it takes one sweet little puppy pushing on my leg for me to be out for 6 months. Same with kids. If you have toddlers that are running around, please keep your toddler from running into my legs. Ramps are everything. I love ramps. Ramps are the best. What are some things that could be changed in every day from offices to school to life to transportation that would actually make your life more autonomous and joyful?
I think we don't think about people who have photosensibility. That means
no.
The underground, the light is so harsh. It is harsh. And I feel like in general, people can be sensitive to sound, to lights, because it can be sound after a while because I feel overwhelmed. And I feel like in general, all of the spaces that we enter are very highly stimulating. There's lights, there's flashes, there's this, and do you know what I mean?
Oh God, yes.
You
Yeah,
know,
I mean, like, just because, like, I'm super ADD, I notice, like,
oh my
light
God.
changes, and I'm like, I can't think anymore. There's the sound
Exactly.
over there, damn it.
Exactly. Let's say, you know, when you walk into like a massage parlor, you know, it's very zen, it's very, you know, there's the sound, there's the smell, right? And you feel good. I feel like life should be a whole spa. The lights should
Mm.
you know, even in the concerts, I loved going to concerts. I still go, but you know, I'm like, will I have a seizure? And what's gonna happen? Like, is the concert gonna have to stop? You know, have all these things. But I understand. So, like, a concert is a place for flashing lights and stuff. I get that. So that's fine. But I mean, in general, I really think we don't think enough about people who are sensitive to light, to sounds, and life is it's too much. I mean, in that sense, you know, and I feel like you should have, even at work, have like rooms with dimmed lights, not so
Mm.
Apple one. I know that at Apple they have like those resting pods or whatnot. I think those things should be in every office. When you have a chronic illness and all of a sudden your legs don't want to work or your arms start spazzing out and you have your colleagues, are you okay, Celestine? I'm fine. I'm fine.
Very well.
You're right, my love. And you're like, yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine. You seem really stressed. And you're like, I'm fine. And after a while,
But if you keep asking me, that's definitely going to get interesting.
sorry, listeners, not shut up. And it's really cool to have someone who's concerned, but people, I feel like in an office, if you have or even if you don't actually, everyone in certain moments of the day or whatnot can have, you know, an issue after trying. But yeah, it's difficult to convince the world to accommodate for, you know, a minority of us, basically.
But yeah, the thing is like everything you're asking for and everything I've always asked for is universal design. And it means that it's not just that we can use it and be a part of things. It means that it's easier for everyone and safer for everyone.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's where it's like that's what I always try to like hit as hard as I can when I talk to politicians is this is an issue that can benefit everyone.
Absolutely, because it's, yes, I agree. I agree that we should, when you say accommodate, I think that's the word also that doesn't work because you feel like you have to ask for something that others don't and it can have to accommodate you. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like also the way we use certain words for certain things aren't the best also. I mean, I don't know exactly how to explain it well, but in the sense of like, I think just life should be comfortable in general, a bit more comfortable for everyone, because a lot of people are unwell for so many different things. And for us, when we have disabilities as well, like mine, like if I ask someone if I can sit down in the underground and I don't have my handicap card, they'll look at me like, what's wrong with you, lady?
Yeah. No, wait, are they polite about it? Is this like a polite thing? Because like I get yelled at in the United States. Are like do they just like glare or is it like do you actually get like assaulted?
No. I've already been like literally told off by people. And then I was like, okay, that's fine. So it depends. Most of the time, the person behind or next to them will be like, you can sit down, you know, like feeling a bit nervous or whatnot.
Yeah.
Nice. But since I don't look particularly sick, people are just thinking, oh, this bitch just wants to sit down. Well,
You don't know, like someone could be perfectly healthy and like be like a service worker and has been on their feet for 14 hours and is like taking care of a baby at home. Like you necessarily have to be disabled for like to be in pain and need to sit down. Like
exactly.
to have like a server's area versus like white collar, you sat on your tail all day.
I agree. So
Yeah.
there's the handicap spaces, obviously, in the underground, but everyone uses them. You know, no one actually respects the handicap place thing.
That is unfortunate and weird.
It is.
Yeah, I have a lot to learn about the UK. Maybe I might be living there, but I have a lot to still learn about it.
Yeah, it's a big difference compared to America. That's for sure. It's very specific. It's a very specific place to live, for sure.
I do love the idea of being able to go to the emergency room without going bankrupt. That is exciting to me. The last one I was at was, I think, $8,000 for a 3-hour visit. So I would love to be able to just go to the ER.
I understand that. Well,
Wait times for doctors aren't that much worse than ours. I was really surprised. Like, I've waited 3 years for a specialist appointment.
3 years, that's insane. Yeah, that's a long time. So in France, it's not like that at all.
No, should I move to France? Like, brush up on my French, try to get decent at it?
France, for the medical, the equivalent of the NHS, basically, it's amazing. You have like a little card, and when you go to the doctors, you pay with that specific.
Swooning, give me a moment. Marie Le Pen there, so hey, it's not fascism anymore, maybe.
But honestly, that's the thing. That's even better than the UK, because here in the UK, if you want to have like the free covered by your insurance, the NHS, you will wait months or you will wait hours in the waiting room. But in France, you can go to any like doctor, any of them, like a private doctor, call them up, you get your meeting, and then you go with your little green, it's actually carte vitale, it's called, and just you put it in. And so sometimes, depending on if it's a specialist, he'll just say, "Oh, so my price is 80, but then you answer the card, it's going to be for $4, please."
You are literally killing me right now.
So it's true. I understand that. Honestly, when you're ill, like you are like when you have to have a lot of like doctor's appointments, specialists, and meds, etc. I feel like America is really the worst place to be. I mean, we do have the access to healthcare, maybe not the worst. Maybe not the worst, but it's not good.
Only another country that charges the way we charge, where people are going to choose, where people choose right now between their insulin and their rent. I don't know of another country that, like, even if there's not the access to it, I've never heard of any country charging what we're charged.
Yeah, no, you're right, actually. Yeah, that's crazy.
Because we might have it here, you might be able to get it, but like if you get diagnosed with MS, like they start asking you how much, what your treatment is basically what you can afford. That's how they decide your treatment is like what you can afford. Like our insurance, if you think that we pay for insurance and that covers shit, it does not. I have really good health insurance, and that means I have to pay $6,000 per person in my family before they cover 80%. 80% of who knows. So here, let me give you like a wonderful example, just so that you're really scared, because I know all of you are not traveling to the United States, and I support you all in that. Please don't. It's terrifying here. Let us try to figure this shit out, see if we survive, but you do not want to come here right now. And here's why you might want to really consider making sure you have other insurance if you come here, is that even if you have insurance, even if you paid your deductible, you don't know what they're going to charge you for everything. They can charge you $1,000 for an aspirin. Yes, that's happened. They charge new mothers to put their children on their chest. It's called a bonding fee. You don't know how much any of that costs. Now, you can then, like, let's say you have a surgery scheduled, and you're like, this is in network, the hospital's in network, my surgeon's in network. You go under, and a new anesthesiologist comes in because yours is sick, and that anesthesiologist is not in your network. You now have to pay full price for that anesthesiologist. Yeah, I love that expression. That's my favorite one. Yeah, that's the shit that goes down here. And when you think maybe, like, I don't know what it would cost you guys if, like, you had to pay out of pocket for, like, a broken leg or something. But here, it can get up to 6 figures.
Oh my God, no. Honestly, seeing the price, I don't think it would ever get that high. That's insane.
No, and our big discussion is like childbirth here, because everyone's decided that Handmaid's Tale is now an instruction manual. And the fact is like my daughter is now an adult, and so this is very old information, but her birth was $26,000 with insurance. She was in kindergarten when we paid off her birth, and it's gotten way worse. Like if you have to do NICU, we had to do NICU for 2 days, but people will have to do NICU for months, and you're looking at $1 million. And they will attach your house. Certain states allow you to allow the ERs and the hospitals to attach your house
to your health. Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's criminal. That's criminal. I didn't know it was that bad. I understand you wanted to leave.
I've talked to people with disorders who have like left like Denmark for here, and they're like, we moved here for the medicine. I'm like, I'm sorry, did you understand what you were I understand that you were having to pay out of pocket, because there's definitely issues with the single payer health system. There are problems, I get that, but even with those problems, like, oh my God, we had to pay out of pocket. It's like, okay, but how much did that cost? How much was out of pocket? Oh, we had to get private insurance. It was $100 a month. I'm like, yeah, my insurance was $1,700 a month. That's how much I had to pay for insurance. And that was like 8 years ago. So I don't think that, like, I think if you're living in a single payer and you are rightfully furious because the money is not going to the NHS as it should, the doctors are not being supported, the rural health clinics are going away, like, be furious, be loud and furious, and use us as your example of what not to do. Like, fight hard.
That is, I didn't, so I just feel like it's just insane to, I mean, it's like in France or here, I feel like if it's really a medication that you have to take for your whole life or even for a long time or whatnot, first of all, that should be free. That should be free, like it is in France, like it is here.
Yep. Insulin should be free.
Absolutely. That's insane that it's not free. I've heard about all that. I've heard about that recently on.
Oh, Trump just took out, like, Biden had put a cap on insulin for $35 a month, and Trump just took it out.
But could you explain why he did that, or is
Okay, so there's a lot of theories. Well, the fact is that we don't really, all of our politicians have to constantly fight for money. We have a thing called Citizens United, which meant that corporations could donate like people, which means a lot of money comes in that no one knows where it's coming from. So these politicians have no time where they're just working for the people who elected them, because they're working for the people who paid for them. So they're spending all their time with, and they don't spend time with us. So all they know is what they're told, which is their friends and the lobbyists. That's why I always tell everyone, please download like ResistBot, download 5calls. These are good ways to call your representatives and your senators. I don't know if you guys have anything like that over there, but over here we have those two apps, and it's because they don't necessarily know what the problems are. So you have to be loud and in their faces. What's happening right now is we have RFK Jr. as our Secretary of Health, and this is a man who bragged about having a brainworm. Does not believe in science or vaccinations. He walks that back every once in a while when he gets a real like pushback, but he's very like, vaccinations should be up to the people. I have real opinions on that. Yeah. Vaccines cause adult children. I don't know how else to look at that. I would crawl on broken glass to get my children vaccinated. Like, the only time I can see not doing it is if your kid is like immune compromised, there's a medical reason, and then but otherwise, this is herd immunity is the nice thing you can do for everyone around you to keep everyone safe and to keep you alive and safe. Anyway, sorry, my tangents, but he's very against peer-reviewed scientific research, and he's telling our scientists they can't actually publish anymore in papers that he does not approve of. And he took black tar heroin through his college days and tells everyone that they can't take their painkillers, their ADHD meds. He advocated for people with ADHD meds to go to wellness camps. Yeah, be very afraid. When any politician says camp, it is not kumbaya or s'mores. So this is what we're dealing with here in the United States right now with health stuff. We're looking at maybe not having COVID vaccines this year. They canceled everything that was supposed to be what would be the new variants for flu and for COVID and for pneumonia, and those were canceled. I think they finally had them. But the first round, he said that no one healthy was going to get them, that only people over the age of 65 or who had immune disorders could get the vaccine. It's getting terrifying here, to be honest. And then they're trying to restrict birth control, which people take for a variety of reasons.
Yeah, of course. That's not even, that's crazy. I cannot believe it. Yeah, I didn't know that was
bad as you think it is. I promise you, it's way scarier.
It's way scarier. Okay. And you know what? I always thought about that. It's like when it's a white man who decides about women's right for abortion, the person who's on top of who's taking care of health in a country should know what it's like to even be sick a little bit. No, do you know what I mean? I have to think we should have someone who actually has a chronic illness, for example, or any kind of like long life disease that he or she has to deal with, that's the right person to put in charge. Do you know what I mean?
I think we need a disability council.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think in any health department, there needs to be a disability advocacy section, because this is the thing no healthy person wants to hear, and I need every healthy person to hear it. You're invited to our club. You will join our club either because you had a bad day or because you were lucky and you aged into us. But you're going to be with us. It will happen. And I need you all to understand that. And I need you all to legislate understanding that, because that's the big issue, is people are legislating like this is not something that will ever touch them. And I have politicians who are in charge of all of the legislation who view disabled bodies as not just inferior, but as should not exist. And that's what they're pushing towards. And I need people to be very aware of that when they're making databases of who has these mental health issues and who's on chronic pain meds. Is there's a real reason that they're pushing for the no opioids now. And it's scary. And I mean, I don't want to go into all of this because this is about you and epilepsy, but I'm in the middle of just being terrified. So please forgive me for spinning out. I'm being held hostage in a terrifying country, and everyone's closing their borders. And I'm like, that's fair, but I'd like to leave. I understand why you all don't want us. That's fair. Just would like to be somewhere where I could, like, I don't know, go to a hospital if I need to and get my pain meds and go to school and just want to live. Seriously, just stop trying to make my life harder.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. It's when you're already sick, and on top of that, you're already your life is a bit harder. It's not your what people think it's normal for them. It's maybe not easy for certain people. Cannot be easy for people who are sick like us. And I feel like you always have to explain yourself or to struggle. And if it was more actually just more inclusive, also the spaces we're in, inclusive to, as we were talking before, to people who are disabled. I understand.
And you're talking about like the bright lights and everything, and here's a positive thing about where I live is we have a lot of understanding of autism here, and so we have sensitivity hours at stores where the stores will like have like Saturday mornings from like 9 to 10. We have our sensitivity hours, and they turn the lights way down. Only a certain amount of people are allowed in. The music is turned off. Like there's a whole bunch of stuff for people who have sensory disorder. And I'm like, this is pretty freaking awesome. I love it.
But see, life should be a little bit more like that. It shouldn't just be an hour, it should be a little bit better for everyone.
Exactly. Or if you're a corporation and you're looking how to like incorporate this, start with an hour. See if that helps your clients. See if it maybe is more of an atmosphere that your workers and your clients feel happier for. And for the love of fucking God, if someone doesn't have to stand for their job, give them a stool. Knock this out. I don't care if my person's sitting or standing. I want them comfortable and safe. Like, why? Like, it feels like there's so much ableism in the workforce that makes certain that disabled people can't be there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, many times when I've gone to certain job interviews, I knew I wasn't going to be able to work there. I knew it because the office was made. Because let's say here you have a bunch of like in New York, like skyscrapers type situation, and I went to an interview on the 30th floor. I knew I wasn't going to be able to go every day, just because of the way the elevator goes up and it goes through all the like big windows. Light thingy, and I knew whatever happened. Honestly, I was about to just go back down. So it's these little things as well, what people don't understand. And I called my mom and I said, anyways, even if I get the job offer, I'm not going to be able to take it because of the elevator. And my mom understands. She's like, it's going to be okay, honey, But other people, you're going to try and tell them, oh, but the thing with the elevator or whatnot, they're going to be like, and then it's a whole conversation.
And then you have to justify it, and it's tiring. Like, my God.
Tiring. It's really, really tiring. Absolutely.
I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've heard, like, it's wheelchair accessible. And I'm like, okay, but you're going to answer a few more questions because your version of wheelchair accessible, my version, turned out that some people's version is there's 20 stairs to get to the room. But if you're in the room, it's wheelchair accessible. I found that out at like 10 o'clock at night in London. In London.
Oh no, sorry.
It's okay. I won't hold it against you. That was a shock. Like, and then you have to justify why. They're like, oh, but you can get out of your wheelchair and walk, so it shouldn't be a big deal. It's like, okay, let's take this from the top. Let's do the whole song and dance. I'll get out the top hat and a little cane and like
Exactly. Yeah.
let's do the suffering musical. We'll reach the musical, yeah.
I know that dance. Don't worry.
Well choreographed.
Exactly.
Kept you hostage for like almost an hour. And I'm so sorry. I was having way too much fun talking to you.
No, it's fine. Don't worry. So,
Maybe I'll have to come back on we'll find some excuse for you to come back. But I do have to take my meds and try to relocate a rib.
it was so nice to talk to you. I'm so happy I got to meet you. Like, this is such a liberating conversation.
I started this after the photography business because I'm like, my God, there has to be other people who are like stuck in bed who want to talk about experiences that we all share. So thank you for being so patient with me while I was like going through one chaos to another.
Thank you very much, Monica. It was really, really a pleasure.
Oh, you're so welcome. All right, everyone. I don't know the future of Invisible Not Broken. We will definitely go through the end of 2025. I don't know what's going to happen in 2026, but we definitely have episodes through 2025. Try to be gentle on whatever it looks like to you. Be fierce, and if you have ideas of what you would like this to look like, let me know, and I will see if I can hire people for it, because I am getting too sick to run this. All right, everyone. I'll see you next month.